Hi friends, it's Sue. Welcome back to my channel. And we are about halfway through the month of June. And so I just thought I would pop on and show you what I've been doing in my everyday junk journal. So here we go. Remember the beginning of this from my last video. Here's my calendar. I've got some things filled in here. So if you'll remember, I had just a page from, I think it was a calendar, photo or a magazine of some kind. It only came up to here, and I really liked the picture. And when I looked at it, I decided I wanted to write a little bit about having, how nice it would be to have a cottage or summer home on the lake. So I didn't want to cover it up with, something that went too high up. So I just glued, I had a little pocket here that I had made out of some book page. So I just glued the top half of that onto the bottom of the picture because it was all sand anyway. And then I had this picture that with the reeds here kind of reminded me of, or grass, reminded me of here, of the pictures. So I decided to just put that on there. And then I cut out with my punch a little opening here and pulled out a card. And I decided to do, I was doing the quote of the day and scripture of the day, both of them in the last month. And so I decided that was too much, so I'm going to alternate them. So I was looking for a quote that had something to do with the beach or being out in along the shore. So I found this quote, and on the back I just wrote about how nice it would be to have a home, maybe in Door County, where we like to go a lot. And it got me thinking that maybe someday we'll go and stay on the quiet side, which is Lake Michigan, because I would love to just walk out in the morning with a cup of coffee and watch the sunrise. That's on the east. The more active part of Door County, the peninsula, is over on the west side, which faces Green Bay. But anyway, that was my thinking there. Then when I saw the other side, I'm like, sometimes I just cover that up if I don't particularly like the picture or can't think of anything. But it did remind me of a farm that we pass on a back road in Door County. It has white fencing like this. It's beautiful. So I decided, to go ahead with that. Plus I had the bottom half of this pocket sticking out, and I wanted to cover that up. So scripture of the day went here, and I talked about what we did that day. And then over here I just wrote about the place in Egg Harbor, Horseshoe Bay Farms, that looks a great deal like that. So that was all for that day. June 3rd, I had this little bit from a children's book of poetry for June 3rd. And it said, over the white phlox in the garden there, 7 little butterflies are dancing in the air, and so on. So from that, I just had this thin little narrow page. So, and it had a little white on it. So I thought, I want to pick up on that idea of the butterflies and the phlox, because I want to use this. So I picked up the blue from over here. So I just looked online for a picture of white phlox and printed it out, put it on a little bit of packaging, and then I found a white butterfly. So I was pretty happy with the way that turned out. But it didn't leave me any place to write or, put my quote of the day. So I went on to the next page. And this particular day, we took our canary in to have his nails clipped. And I had this in my stash. It was just a little poem about Mary and her canary. So I decided to just kind of make a little pocket or slide out spot for that. And just, when we took Chip in to have his nails clipped, first the woman came out and she said, I think your bird may be pregnant. And we said, well, I don't think so. It's a male. He sings. So she said, okay, well, in that case, he may have a tumor in his stomach. I'm like, whoa, tumor? And she says, or he may just be fat. Maybe you're feeding him too much or the wrong kind. So we had a little discussion about that, and we're upping his vegetables and hoping that it's just he's a little overweight and not having a tumor. So anyway, at least we know he's not pregnant. So this next day, well, I guess, let's see. I'm trying to think if this was this may have been part of the third, or it may have been the fourth. I think it was the third. So we did some adulting this day. We wanted to get our will and trust done, so we met with a lawyer. And so I put his card in here. And then, I looked up a quote about, adults, adulting, whatever. And I found this quote, which I thought was pretty good. And then this didn't have anything on the back, but I just thought it needed something in the back there. So this was just a diagonal piece of dictionary page that I had in here, just to be a little different, to put something on an angle and to present the challenge to myself of what to do with that. So so I just decided to make that little pocket out of a scrap of paper, and then, to write about that inside. So that was that day. So the next day, we had the other side of this dictionary page, and I noticed I had some gray scrapbook paper coming up. This yellow wasn't here yet, but so I just pulled this out. It had some gray in there. It's not a color I usually use. Also, not even yellow. It's not something I normally use. So with that as a guide, I picked out a yellow index card and put some gray scraps on there for the scripture. And then, just what we did that day. We were getting ready to visit our daughter in Colorado. So, some just getting ready for that. Yeah. So this was the day before we left, I believe. Yeah, we left on Friday. So, what we were doing that day, getting ready, laundry, packing, banking, setting timers, taking the bird over to my friend who always watches him. And I loved this quote as well. So, and I had just put this, I had this yellow scrap. I think I really made this too tight, but I had this yellow scrap laying around, and I thought it picked up the yellow over here, and then I just went with some gray paper there. So when we went to Denver to visit our daughter, who lives in one of the suburbs there, we were limited to 2 carry-ons, and we made them. We didn't take, full-size ones. I have one of these that collapses into different sizes, but we were trying to limit what we took. So I did have a bag to put in a backpack under my seat. There were some things missing that I didn't think of once we got out there. I had my little HP Sprocket to make pictures with, but I took the wrong iPad that had the the app on it that I needed to print them out. And so anyway, I just kind of did the best I could with some of the things that I had brought. I had brought some stickers and things. So I thought I'll just do this instead. I couldn't take this whole big thing with me, but I wanted, to document what we were doing along the way. Otherwise I would forget by the time I came back. So, and my travel journal that I usually keep is also getting pretty thick, and I didn't want to take up space with that. So I just did this. This was something new. So, yeah, the first day, we got there. I don't know. We went to this Mod Pizza for lunch, and we hadn't been there. I think we had been years ago to one around here where we live. And of course, this is from a children's book from the 50s. That is not how planes look these days, as you well know, but we don't get full meals like that. But anyway, we had a good time, and I just documented, with some bullet notes what we did that day. And we went to a Rockies Mets game in the evening, which was fun. I just stamped some of these things and took them along with me in various colors. Our grandson is going into his senior year of high school and plays ball. So we went to, he had 2 games on this day. So we drove up to Fort Collins to the city park, and he played there. Then we went to lunch at Firehouse Subs. And then we drove to Stone Mountain High School where he played another game. Fortunately, it was beautiful weather, not too hot. So, they had some losses there that day, but we enjoyed watching him play. And we had dinner when we got home. Sunday, we got up. We went to a beautiful, huge farmer's market in the suburb of Parker. And then we went back home and, it had just kind of a lazy day. The back of their house, their patio and yard, opens up to a huge equestrian park. People bring their horses on the weekends especially, and they have things, fences for the horses to jump and different things for them to do. So we just sat out on the patio and watched the people groom their horses after their rides, and it was very nice. It was a very relaxing day. We went for ice cream after dinner, and it started to rain, and even though it was sunny, so we got to see a beautiful rainbow here from their back patio. And the next day, so I just, I had a few things that I brought with me. I kept, places for when I got home for the photos to go. So, that was it. My son-in-law had to work that day. So some of us, my daughter and my grandson and my husband and I went to see the Mission Impossible movie, which was very good. Edge of your seat excitement the whole time. We played Uno on the patio at night. We did a lot of 5 Crowns, that card game. So it was kind of a lazy day on Tuesday. The kids had some things to do, I think. Mark had another game at Metro State University in Denver. So we drove there and watched his game. Then we went out for dinner to Lazy Dog. I found this picture online, and we had the waiter take a picture of us. And this is, the view from their backyard. They have the Rocky Mountains back here, and every night they have a beautiful sunset going down over the mountains. No matter what time of the day it is, it's just always beautiful to sit out there. And then we left on Wednesday. Our daughter dropped us off at the airport, and I snapped this out the window as we were coming into Chicago. So that just clips in there, and And then the next day we had a funeral to go to for a woman who was 102 years old. And so I found this scripture, even to your old age and gray hairs, I am he who will sustain you. So, and she was just a woman of great faith, the mother of one of our people that go to church with us. This next day, I had an Edith Holden page coming up, and I didn't want to do a thing to this because it just was so lovely. So I found this page from a book about fairies that I thought the colors were just perfect. It went perfectly with that. And again, another narrow page. What do you do with that? So made a little pocket out of it. I had this page from an Edith Holden text page, and this was a little bit of napkin that I had glued on there, and then just what I was doing that day. We had a few appointments and things to do, and then I found this in my stash too, and I thought, well, isn't that perfect? Sometimes things just all come together and they're pretty easy to figure out. And I liked this quote: "Is sloppiness in speech caused by ignorance or apathy? I don't know, and I don't care." William Safire. So, and then Saturday, again, here's the other side of that Edith Holden. And, I still wanted to keep a good part of that, but there was text on the top. So, and this was just loose in my stash, also from one of her books. So I just took a scrap of scrapbook paper and flipped it out. And we were working hard this day. It was a cool day here, but so we decided to power wash our patio, which we do every year. It's a huge job, but it has to be done. So we did that. I took a picture of my husband doing his part, and then I grilled chicken wings because our son was coming over for Father's Day. And then since we were cleaning, I found this scripture here that seemed to fit. So that was that. And then I saw what was coming up here. I liked the images that were coming. I'm going to probably keep this page. I might do some writing on here. Not sure, but the next thing here was just this little envelope flap. And, I put it in there again. What can I do with that when I come to it? That'll be a challenge. So I found this scrapbook paper that I thought would look nice with the black. And I just kind of flipped it around the page and glued it on one side here to the flap, and then kept it open on the other. So, and then I just took some scrapbook paper. I think it was the same paper I had cut some off from over here. This one was, I was looking up quotes about fathers or fatherhood. I wasn't finding really great ones, but I had seen this one by Mark Twain before, and thought it was a good one. When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much he had learned in 7 years. So, just kind of wrote a little bit about what we were doing that day and put that in there. And then yesterday, Monday, I had my appointment with my doctor. I knew it was coming up, so I had, when I was going through my basket and books and things, I had found that page of patient and doctor, so I just cut that out and put it in my box. So I wrapped that around. I don't usually use red in my journals too much. That's not a favorite color of mine. But anyway, I just talked about, my visit to him and got a good report. And in our Catholic Bible, we have the book of Sirach, and there is a quote about doctors in that book. So that was the scripture that I chose for that day, and I just drew a little picture. So that's that. We are up to the halfway mark. I have a dentist appointment coming up tomorrow, so I just kind of clipped that in there. I'm not sure where, I was going to be when that came about, but I'm pretty close to that. So sometimes I do that. I just clip things in if I think, I'm going to be using them around that time. And when I was doing my flip through of the book, after I had just made it, I forgot to show you, I had taken off the what do you call it? Word fail. You know, this thing from the book. I know you're all shouting at me, but I can't hear you. So you know what I'm talking about. So I just backed that with some poster board and put some twine in there and affixed some beads. And so that's acting as kind of a little bookmark for me. So there you go. That takes us up to the first half of the month. And there's still, you know, quite a ways to go there. I've got a lot of wiggle room here because I haven't bulked it up yet. But it'll get there. And having fun with it in the meantime. So anyway, thanks for coming along and taking a look. If you liked it, give it a little thumbs up, and I will be back to show you the second half of the month. Until then, see you next time.